Scrap dog.
Hey everybody, I'm Alan. I'm an addict. How are you guys doing? Uh, I love coming up here in the trees. It's awesome, peaceful, nature, better than down there where we're at. Anyways, I have to start off with I was born many, many years ago, uh, back when I was a little baby. My mom raised us by herself. I didn't have a dad in the picture. There were, we went through times where we jumped around down in Orange County, LA County, and my mom was a single mom. We had drugs in the picture, alcohol in the picture all the time. And it was, a lot of bad stuff happened. Me and my sister, we had a rough childhood, and it was, some of the time it was a really, really ugly picture. So I learned how to be angry and very, I guess, irritable and discontent at a young age. And I lost trust for adults, people. So I also had the issues of being, ADD, hyperactive. Later on, young diagnosed minimal brain dysfunction. Later became bipolar, tripolar, all kinds of stuff. So I was raised on medication, always on medication, growing up, going to the office at school, taking my pills, and so I kind of learned how to, and I was good on taking my pills, so I learned how to, I thought that was the way to grow up and get medicated and do what I do like that. I had my first drink. I mean, honestly, I can't even tell you my first drink. But I remember drinking. My mom would say, "Oh yeah, go ahead and finish that beer." Michelob, that was her drink when I was a kid, and so I grabbed the bottle of Michelob and I drank the rest of it. If it was sitting there, I drank it, and that was 6 years old. When I started, drinking beer when I could. When it looked, when it was there, they were all partying. So everyone's cool. They're all cool. That's what it is to be cool. They're drinking beer and getting tore back and. So I thought, oh yeah, drink. Oh, that's cool. Look at them drinking a beer. That's what I did. And then later on, I'd say about like 14 or 13, I realized that you start drinking them fast, and you start getting a head change. And right away, when that happened to me, I realized, oh, I like that head change. I can open up. I can talk to people, talk to girls, not be afraid to step up to someone I'm afraid of. And I became my character defect, which is what I was when I grew up. That's about when I started changing, 13 years old. And I'm leaving out a lot of stuff because I try to get to the good part. But I I got arrested, 6th grade, first time getting arrested. Uh, we didn't have good stuff growing up. We didn't have Christmases unless we went to my grandparents' house. There was a Christmas tree there with presents, and we didn't have all the good stuff. My mom, she just passed away this last year, and she always told me I did what I could with what I had. When we were younger, we always wondered, well, then how, that's not good enough, But now I see, that's all she could do. I know a lot of single moms out there now, and they have a hard time, and she did everything she could, and but we paid the price in some of that aspect, in some of those ways. But I don't, I don't regret it at all. That's how I became the person I am now, and I got in trouble. I started going to juvenile hall when I was 15 years old, and before that, I didn't know any bad people. I went to juvenile hall from anger. I grew up with anger, so I became violent. And I put hands on people all the time, hence my name, Scrappy. That's how I got it when I was in 8th grade. And that's when I started getting in trouble. And, they called me that, and I just liked to fight. So when I started getting loaded, well, that comes in a little after that. I started getting in trouble And then I met the people in the system, you know, the guys in juvenile hall and the boys camps and the placements. And that's who I started hanging out with when I started going home on the streets. And that's when my grandparents finally took us in. And, you know, nice house, nice cars in Upland, California. We had a really nice house. I mean, my mom agreed to let them take us in. And so, but I don't, you know, I took it for granted. I didn't appreciate it. And I want to just be this stupid thug that ran around on the streets and did what I did. Hung out with the bad people and man, you know, sometimes you say you wish you could do it all over again, but like I said right a couple minutes ago, if I didn't do all that, I wouldn't be here now. Maybe, you know, who knows? But I meet the people that started messing around with dope and cooking dope and partying all the time, selling this, selling that, stealing this, robbery, you know, any kind of felony activity I can get into. And that's what I did, starting really bad at 17, just full-blown doing all that to do my hustle to get high. And I had to do that for then on. As long as I was out of the system, I didn't have people come deliver my drugs to me in my fancy house and get loaded once. I didn't get a delivery once a week. I had to go out on a daily basis, do my thing to acquire what I had to do to feel the right way. And I had a lot of anger from growing up. A lot of anger and you know, the bad things that happened to me was made me not trust anybody. And it was just, I was isolated. When they talk about isolated, in high school, I was there for my freshman year, and that's it. After that, I was pretty much gone in places. But I had like 3 friends in the whole school, and you know, I didn't trust anybody. I isolated. I'd go home, do my own thing. I skateboard, but it turned into. In high school, I met my wife, and we got together, and we still hung around all the guys, and a lot of those guys now I'm still friends with. But a lot of us went to prison, a lot of us went to jails, institutions, and I'd say a dozen of them are dead, you know, that I really were close to growing up. And you know, I had to see that to realize. I realized I was an addict. The first time I came into NA was, 1995. And I think I was 19 years old. You know, give or take a year, both of them. It was, and I looked around. Well, I was in a rehab for 6 months, and we went to AA and NA every day. But I looked around and I said, man, these guys, you know, they just can't handle their high or they can't handle their drink. You know, I'm 19 years old. I don't have to do this yet. I got a whole 20 years, 10 years of partying before I need to clean up. I don't need to worry about that yet. Look, they're all alive. They're in a meeting. They're fine. And that's the approach I took on it. But that approach, and I ended up back in the rooms probably 4 or 5 times in between. Court ordered. They were all court ordered, but and I never got it. And I always wondered, how can this work for me? This isn't rubbing off on me because I wasn't doing nothing. I was going to the meetings and just getting my court card signed, and then going and doing what I did. But this last time around, I realized, well, yeah, all these guys from all different aspects of life were staying clean and having fun. So on this last court card I was on, I had a charge out here, and I didn't want to go to prison out here. So I decided to clean up while I was on this felony probation out here. So I didn't have to finish off my sentence in prison. And so I took that approach at it first. And I said, well, I see all these guys, and that's after being in the rooms out there in Silver Springs for a few times, and, you know, they're staying clean. and they're having a good life. So it's working for some of these guys. It's working. And every time I went back into those rooms, those same guys were in those rooms, still telling the same happy stories on how their lives are better now. And I'm thinking, well, okay, well, then I know I can stay clean, and I know I can beat this probation. And then we'll see what it does. And then, I can go back out and do what I do. But so I had a 5-year probation sentence, and I did the program. I messed up after 7 months, and then I decided, okay, that's it. I'm getting me a sponsor. So this is 7 months into my probation. I went out to Arizona to my homeboy's house. It was a planned relapse. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna get fucked up. And we drank, and boom, all I could think about was getting high. I want to get high. Where can we go get high? And he didn't know nobody. He wasn't messing around out there. And so I spent the whole time out there just drunk and wanting to get high. But too afraid just to go out somewhere and just, because, I'm out of state on probation, and I don't know, I just didn't do it. Came home, and that's when I said, you know what, this was March 19th, 6 years ago. That's the day I stopped over there. And, I even gave myself 2 days to dry out from the alcohol before I came back and tested. And the first guy in our meeting in Springs, he was like what they call the book thumper of the, he was hardcore. And I went up to him after the meeting and I asked him, I said, hey, so what's up? You want to be my sponsor? And, just because the lingo that you hear in the rooms, like I thought was just the lingo, get a sponsor, work your steps, do the program. Anyone that we know doing that doesn't relapse. So I said, well, yeah, I don't want to go to prison. I got, in this time of the last, since 95, we acquired 3 kids. They popped out within this time. So the first one was a boy. So, visiting him through the glass and in prison and all that, and that's one thing. But now I got 2 little girls. So I just did not want to leave those little girls at home without a dad. Me and my sister grew up without a dad, and, it's not easy. And I know a lot of chicks out there that didn't have dads, and, I think it's important to have their dad in the picture. And that was a big factor in me at the beginning. It wasn't just all about me. It was about my family and sticking around and not going to prison. I don't know if my wife had another prison venture in her, She visited me all the time that I did back then. She came to visit me every week, forever. All the times that I've done, she was there every week to see me. And I just don't know. I just didn't want that to go on. And so I got me a sponsor because I did not want to go back to prison. That was the only thing that was keeping me going at first. It wasn't about me bettering my life yet. It wasn't about me having the pink cloud and making a life for myself. Before and after prison, the last time I was in there, in 2000, I had a good job before that. For like a year and a half, I got out. I couldn't get that job back, so I painted with my brother-in-law. I mean, that was a good job, but then I got my other job back. So in my whole life, I worked like 3 years. And a real job that you go and collect a real check and go cash a real check and have real money. And other than that, I just did my hustle to get what I had to get on a daily basis. My wife would give me money to get loaded. She works. She's always had good jobs. But she just didn't have enough money to get me going every day. So I did what I did. And I was tired of that. I was tired of that game. I was tired of that life. I was tired of looking over my shoulder, not knowing who to trust. I had good friends, and still some of those friends from when I was younger, they're clean now, and I'm glad they're still around. But a lot of those guys I hung out with, I think just this last year, I finally kicked the last one to the curb. I mean, in and out of prison. They get out, oh, help this, help that, and then boom, straight back to the bag. You know, I don't have that much energy and time to help the guys I grew up with when there's plenty of guys out here that are fiending for help and want to talk to somebody that want to go to meetings and want to get a program. So that's what I'm focusing on now. I'm just kind of, if they ever come back around, then that's all good. I'll help them out, but I can't like stay stuck on them because I had to let go. I had to let go and move on to my new life, and that's what I'm doing now. And it's so that sponsor, when I hit him up in that meeting, when I got back from that trip, he goes, well, I don't have time to waste. So if you want to work with me, we're going to do stuff. We're going to meet every week, and we're going to go through the steps, and you're going to dig in deep, and you're going to work on your issues and work on yourself, and it's going to suck. And he told me that. And I said, well, you know, what do you mean it's going to suck? And he said, well, because you're going to have to face your issues and deal with your issues. And, you know, how did we do that before? We just got loaded, and I didn't have to feel nothing. I didn't have to feel anger, depression, sympathy. As long as I stayed loaded on something, I didn't have those feelings. But when I came down, boom, feelings times 10, times 20. So you just wanted to stay going. You wanted to stay going, and after that, you know, all those years, it just wears on you. And so I started working with that sponsor, and we met every week. And I dove into the steps. We worked a step probably, well, you know, it varies, but I got through the steps for my first time within like 7, 8, 9 months. It was somewhere in there. But you know, I kept that sponsor for a little bit until he moved away. And I got another one, and I've had another one, and I got a new one. But yeah, that's what got me into it. And going to meetings, not just for my court card, and he told me my court card was 2 meetings a week. And he's like, well, you need to do those, but then you need to do meetings for yourself, not for the court card. So he wanted me to go to 1 or 2 other meetings a week. So I'm thinking, oh, God, 3 or 4 meetings a week. Why? Why would you go to that many meetings? And I told him I didn't like going to meetings. And he said, well, you need to go to meetings until you like going to meetings. And I thought, that's crazy talk. Who likes going to meetings? Who likes going to hear how good everyone's lives are now when I'm feeling shitty? And back then, I was feeling shitty and miserable, and I didn't know how I was going to stay out of getting busted. I didn't think it was possible. It was way out of the realm. I thought for sure I'm going to do this probation, and I've never beat a probation before. So if I can beat this probation, boom, I'm going to get a big bag, and I'm going to make money. That's all I thought about. And but I'll tell you what took that thought away was going to these meetings, and after a few months, 6 months, 9 months, they started telling me, "Oh, you're part of the herd now. You know, you're one of us now." I started going to everything. I started doing everything, the campouts, the functions, and you know, I got into secretarying a meeting. Service, that's a huge one for me. They told me, get involved in service, because when you get involved in service, you have a commitment that you have to show up for. And you're a part of something bigger than just working your own program. You're helping everybody. And so I did that. That was at like, I think 4 or 5 months. And like just recently, and that was, you know, over 6 years ago. And just recently, I got this job. So I had to duck out of some service commitments. And but I had service commitments that whole time. And that's where I met the people that are 100% in it to win it all the time. When I go to these functions and stuff, I see the same faces. When you go to area meetings, you see the same faces. In region meetings, the same faces. The committees, the campout committees, the same faces. You know, guys selling stuff at the campouts. Those are the ones staying clean. So those are the ones that I since I've been here, I haven't seen any of those relapse yet for myself. So that's what got me into that little group, and so and then as time went on, going to these functions and going to these meetings and taking numbers down. I got my phone. In my phone right here, if I meet someone in NA and I want their number, I put NA and then their name. And it started off with just a few people. Now, the list is like 40, 50, 60 guys that I like to call. And there's a few women in there, but people from the program. And I notice myself now when we go do stuff, even when I'm making our own plans in life outside of the program, So, but they're with people in the program. They're with my NA people, and we do things. We go to concerts. We camp. We go to concerts, and there's like this NA group, and we get in the pit, and it's we're not drunk, we're not loaded, and so I get in there now, and it's guys that I can rely on at a show, and it's fun. We have all kinds of fun together. We do everything together. It's just this way of life now is 100. I was just telling someone this the other day, 100 times better than before. And I had a lot of fun getting loaded. I had a lot of fun going to parties, a lot of fun going camping, to the lake, on trips, being loaded. A lot of fun. But with that fun, for me, came always fighting, always someone going to jail, getting arrested, always the come down after every episode for me either got me into a mental institution for more than 72 hours, a jail, a prison, or running down the street in my socks, from the cops, going to jail. And then once I get in the cop car, I'm in it, and that's it. I don't fight the cops, and I just, I try to say, hey, give me that pillow when we get to jail. Get me a pillow, because I know the next week and a half is all bad for me. And it's waking up, eating, and sleeping, and so that's my time, my bad times, and then I got into the program. And I stuck around this time, and I got me a sponsor, and I talked the talk, and I got there until I learned how to start walking the walk. And, they say fake it till you make it. Now I love going to meetings. I'll hit a meeting whenever I can. If I'm having a bad day and I'm driving by somewhere and I know there's a meeting over there, I'll make it happen to where I hit that meeting, and I'll tell you a big thing that's changed my life now because of this program. We were at the men's retreat last year, and someone said, they're both here right now. So someone said, use your resources in the program to better your life, to make things happen. And I'll tell you what happened. That meeting, it clicked for me. And that, I think, was in October at the men's retreat. And was talking about using resources in the program and getting someone to come up here and get a life somewhere else. And a job and get their life started and do something. I went home from that meeting. And I decided, after not having a job since 2002, a real job, and I've done a couple things that weren't illegal to make money. I worked, I bounced for some strippers up here in Tahoe on private shows. I made good money doing that. I worked security at the racetrack. And I helped my friend in a cabinet making business I met him in the program. And so those are the three things I've done in all that time. Just a little side work here and there. I got home and I decided I'm doing something. I'm getting a job. I don't care. I'm a felon. I got a criminal record, but that's when I made the decision. It didn't matter to me because I see lots of felons in NA making lives of themselves and getting jobs. So I threw that excuse in the trash. That's nonsense. It's just an excuse to keep living the way I was. Being a stay-at-home dad was an excuse. I had my babies. Well, they're not babies anymore, and I'm still a stay-at-home dad doing nothing. I need to do the footwork to better my life now and become a part of the establishment. The people. That's I got the community. Become a good person, and all I was doing was 100% in NA. And staying with my kids and having fun and clean. But I needed to do something to help give back to my family. So I had a job by December 15th, and that was by October. And I'm still working now, and I'm still at that job. It's working at a mine in Lovelock, and it's I love it. I love going to work. I don't mind getting up at 1:30 in the morning, and we go back and forth to shifts and. So, I'm in this to win it, like I was getting clean when I got in it to win it, and when I was out there in the game, in the dope game. I was in it to win it. I didn't win much then, but now I'm reaping the benefits of feeling better about myself, and it's because of this program. I didn't get this hint anywhere else but NA. And so I owe NA for me getting clean, learning how to communicate with my family, going out, getting a job, and then there's also this health factor. When my mom passed away, I realized, I got to get healthy. I got to do something different besides just being a slob and eating all this fast food and junk food all the time. And so I decided I'm going to use the steps that I learned here in dieting and that sort of thing. So I did, and that's what got me through it in the beginning. I started in October. Same thing. I started dieting in October, and I went and I did a sleep test. I got sleep apnea, so I got that little machine going, and since October, it's one day at a time. I do it one day at a time. That's how I roll with it. And I get through it. I don't eat fast food today, period. I try to stay under 20 grams of sugar a day for today. Tomorrow, I'm not going to worry about it, period, besides fruits. I do a vegetable blend with a protein powder every morning for today. Since October, because trips, concerts, I think I've missed 6 of those. 6 mornings without doing my big, huge, mass veggie blend. And I'm an addict, so I don't do one little carrot and celery. It's a big beet, it's 4 carrots, it's a bunch of kale and a bunch of spinach every morning. I boost my energy, my vitamins, and that's what gets me through. And I lost 65 pounds from that. And I was exercising, but I had a surgery here in my hernia, so I got to get back to that. I slacked off right now, so I'm getting back in the gym for that. But I owe all that to knowing how to do it one day at a time and to live a better life than I was. I got something else I wanted to talk about, the coming to realize that my life was powerless and unmanageable. So that goes back to when I was younger. A lot of people say they didn't realize they were an addict until later. Well, I knew I was an addict after that when I was 19 years old and I started going to all those meetings and they told you what an addict was. So right then, within my first week, I knew because they were telling my story right there. I knew I was an addict. But like I said, I got time to kill. I don't have to worry about this for a while. I can go on and party for a while and live my life the way I want. And like all these older guys, there weren't very many young people in the rooms then. And like these older guys, I could just do it later. So all that time, me getting loaded and doing what I did, I knew I was an addict. And, we'd even boast about it and stuff. And, you can't do what I do. You can't drink like I can drink. My drinking thing was bad. It was drinking for me since I was 15, 14 years old was always a competition, no matter who I was with. And even if I was with myself in the house, I wanted to drink more today than I drank yesterday because I just wanted to see if I could do it. Whether it was a bottle, I wanted to drink a bigger bottle the next day. A case of beer, I wanted to drink a case of beer with more alcohol percentage in it. So it was always a competition for me, and that went with the drugs too. We would get drugs, and the friends I hung out with, everyone got loaded. If they didn't get high like I didn't hang out with them. So that's how we went, and that's why I knew my life. I knew I was an addict. I knew I was powerless over the drugs. I knew my life was unmanageable from a young age. But I didn't want to do nothing about it. And just this last time, and I didn't realize that there was a power greater than myself that could bring me to sanity. That part was bullshit because I was young and I was never going to die, and life was forever back then, and I had nothing to lose. So no one can bring me to sanity. Now this last time around, I realized I'm not the higher power in my life. I don't have control of my life because look how the last 20 years has gone. I am completely out of control. The system has control of my life, the government, and I thought why do I want to let that happen? I'm going to try a different way of control. I'm going to give my control over to something better than the government system. And that's when I chose, I'm going to do this higher power thing. I pray every day now. And I'm not a Bible-thumping Christian. I don't go to church, but I pray every day. And I'm more spiritual now than I've ever been in my life. And that's what's gotten me through my grandma's death a few years ago, my mom's death this last winter or fall. Life changes. I have a higher power, and there's a plan for everything. And I realized that could take me away from the insanity. So then I went and I handed my whole life over to my higher power. Last year, we were tripping on how are we going to survive. My wife was going to school, so we were trying to survive with me not having a job, her going to school. We're surviving on credit cards and student loans for the past couple years. So I couldn't trip on it no more. I just had to give it over to my higher power and have faith that it was going to be okay. And now it's okay. And that's, I didn't stress out. I didn't go back to what I was doing before to make money. And that was always in the back of my mind. Well, if we need money to pay these bills, this and that, well, I can double my money. I know how to do that. But I never even thought about it seriously. It was just always just calling me in the back of the mind. When you have that first thought, what do? Your second thought, you talk to somebody about it, and you work it out. So that's what I did, and I got through it. And now we both got good jobs, and I know that might not last forever. But I'm not worried about next year down the road. I know for now we're happy. We all got good jobs. Oh, they're circling up over there. And life is good. Life is good. Life now is the happiest I've ever been in my life. And I have a better relationship with my wife and my kids than I've ever had in my life. And it's not because of counseling. It's not because of taking medication. It's because of this program, learning how to live life with life's shitty terms sometimes. I'm not happy all the time. Sometimes I feel like punching myself in the head. when shit don't go my way, and I do. And then I realized what I got to do. What's the solution to that problem? And that's what I go with, and that's what I've learned here. Not I still got character defects. That's one thing. My realizing what my character defects were, and then asking God to take them away. My shortcomings. He hasn't taken all of them away. I still get upset. I still got chemical imbalances in my head. I don't medicate myself to fix them. I try to deal on a daily basis with my problems and figure them out. So I'm still quick to snap sometimes, but I'll tell you what, I don't just snap now without thinking about the consequences, and that's what this program has taught me. Think before my actions. And what's going to happen if I do this or that? And but so then when I do something, then it makes me feel worse now because I've actually thought about it. I think about it before I do it, and then I'm thinking, oh, well, I did it anyway. So, that makes me feel, but it's not my addiction wasn't just drugs. It was from a young age, way before drugs, it was violence. It was craziness, insanity. I did not like to sit in the house and watch cartoons. I had to get out there and get crazy, jump over stuff on my bike or my skateboard and take risks. And the bad stuff too. I mean, we at a young age. And the more risky it was, the more dangerous it was, the more illegal it was, the more fun it was. My addiction ran that way too. And then with eating. I can't tell you what I used to just eat horrible, and that to me that's an addiction. Spending money frivolously, without thinking about it, just buying it here and there, and even in my clean time, spending money. I talked about just because you're clean and you're not spending all this money on dope doesn't mean you should go just spend money. I don't spend money on dope anymore, so I can get me this $600 tattoo because I deserve it. Well, it's all addiction. Gambling, sex, it runs everywhere in my life. It's so I got more things than just drugs. Getting clean in my program was the easiest part in my program. Was for me to get clean and start staying clean. But all the other shit in my life is where I started running into issues where, well, dude, I got to work on this too. I'm clean now, but I still do this and I still do that. So that's the stuff I work on now, is living life without being a piece of shit that chases someone down on the highway for flipping me off. I caught myself last year. And I think we were in my wife's car, and I had my son in the car, and this taxi driver wouldn't let me on the freeway. And so he flipped me off, and I'm chasing this guy like 100 miles per hour, and I'm telling my son, get something so I can throw it at him. And we're, and that guy's on his phone, and he's getting off the off-ramp. And I'm thinking, fuck, what am I doing? I'm chasing this dude for flipping me off. So what? He flipped me off. So we left him, and I'm sure he was calling 911, getting off the freeway, just because we got in a little chase for about a half a mile maybe. It was on the, going up to the 80 off the 395, that little turn, and then he got off on the next exit. I don't need to put hands on people. I don't need to resort to violence. I don't need to get high. I don't need to get loaded. I don't need to act like the biggest badass in the room. I don't need to intimidate people. I don't want to live like that anymore. I want to be humble, be a good family member, a good parent, a good husband, and that's all I care about. And then at the very end of it, and I want to stay clean today. I don't want to get fucked up. And I don't want to have to worry about how am I going to come back and bow down to these guys in these rooms and say, oh, man, help me. I don't know if I can swallow my pride enough to come back in. You know, some people say, "Oh, I'll never come back in." I think I will, because when she comes and gets me out of prison or jail after I fuck up again, if I'm lucky enough to go to prison or jail, because how many people do you know that go back out there and they die? I mean, that's what I've seen in the past couple years. So if I'm lucky enough to survive and end up getting busted and then getting out, I know where to go. If I don't want to go back to getting fucked up, I know go to NA, call the people I know. Hey, I need a meeting. I don't want to go back there again, because I know that's what I'll think when I get out. And I've thought that before, and I go home and take a shower, and then boom, I'm in the liquor store buying a 1.75 of Jack Daniels. So I know for me, I got to get out and go straight somewhere and get back into the program. But that's lucky enough if you end up surviving on this last run that if you're getting a last run. I don't want a last run. I know I got a last run in me. I know I got one in me, but I don't know if I have a last cleaning up, a last recovery period in me. I don't know if I'll be able to get back in there. It's so I know I got a last session of getting out there and acting crazy and stupid and doing 100 balls to the walls, but I don't know if I'll make it back. And, God willing, I would make it back, but it's just not, for me to take that risk, it's not worth what I have now. It's, and that's from learning my principles, too. I didn't get into the traditions or principles, but the steps are good. The steps are awesome. You got, doing the steps, getting a sponsor is the thing you want to do. That's that's what they talk about. That's what you need to come in and do. You need to come in, you need to get a sponsor, and you start working the steps. I think that's what saves my life and staying clean. But learning how to be a sane person and not chase those people on the freeway and not want to beat everybody up every time someone looks at me like, what the fuck are you looking at? Don't you know who I am? They're allowed to look at me. They can give me a smirk. I don't care. Now I don't care. Before, I cared. The traditions and living principles of the program, learning how to live life as a good man of Narcotics Anonymous, not as this old person I used to be. So I'm trying to represent this way of life and help others with it and pass it on. And I tell them, dude, if I can live this way, you can live this way. I guarantee it. And it's hard working with new guys and I was the same way when they think that I still, I'm not by any means been here long enough to know anything more than just barely what I know. There's still so much for me to learn how to live. And but I know it's a choice for me. I can choose to slow down on my meetings. I can choose to stop talking to my sponsor. I can choose to not be a part of the program. Or I can do what it takes to keep myself clean today. And how did I get clean? I came here to the program, and I did what I had to do to stay here. So if I do that every day, what could happen? I don't know. The guys I know that have been here for a little while, the ones that relapse, are the ones that cop a resentment at a meeting or something, or this meeting, and stop going here, stop dealing with these people or that people, and boom, 2 months later, they're out getting loaded, You're seeing their life change on Facebook. It's no more program posts. It's all posts about partying. It's, that dude's fucking up again. So I know it happens. That's the disease here, and I think we all have it here. It's just sitting there, like they say, it's waiting right there. I got the devil and the angel right here, and right now the angel's winning, and today it's winning, and it's going to win today. And tomorrow, this devil right here is going to be like, hey, I'm right here. I'm going to be like, fuck you. This angel right here is going to win today, and I'll do it again tomorrow. And I'll wake up tomorrow, and I'll do my prayer. And, God willing, I can make it today. That's the plan. I did it yesterday. That's the plan for today. And I'm not worrying about tomorrow. When I wake up tomorrow, I'll think about it, and I'm going to make that plan to get through today, and what do I got to do for my recovery tomorrow, and what do I got to do to be the best man I can be for that day. And if I follow that way of life for me, then that's what's got me this far right now, is every day I try to be the best person I can be, and that's in my friendships, my family, my recovery, my job, my health. There's all those different roads that I got to pay attention every day for that one day. And it's I'm not worried about being clean next year. I'm not worried about next month, and I'm not tripping on yesterday or the drama, any drama that I've had, or the past. My past was my past, and if I didn't go through that past, I wouldn't be here today to tell you guys my story. So it's I'm glad some of it happened. I'm glad all of it happened. I mean, there was some bad shit, but now I'm here, and this is the way I want to live, like I'm living today. This is how I want to do it. I want to wake up. I want to do something for my recovery, and I want to stay clean no matter what. A lot of times I say that, I kind of toned it down on this one. It's because a lot of people die in this disease. And when I was out there, they were dying. I didn't go to any funerals, I'd rather just get loaded and not go to the funeral. I was too busy in my life to go to funerals when I had good friends, homeboys. We call them homeboys where we come from, and they didn't make it. And I wish they would have. And I got friends now, some of those same guys that are getting out and going back in. And it doesn't matter how many years you do, if you don't have a program. It's so important when you get out of there to go to a meeting and get a sponsor that hour if you can. I mean, every little second, minute matters. And they're back in the bag. They're getting loaded. And it's inevitable that they're going back. And I can't help those guys. And that's what I've been dealing with lately. Friends that are, I got to let them go. I got to find a way to let these guys that I grew up with go. And it sucks. But I'm meeting new friends that are just as important as those friends were back then. I got these guys now in my circle and a lot of them are in recovery. So that's my new gang. I mean, this is NA. It's a gang of people that I can rely on. I can call if I have a problem, talk to them about problems. If anything happens in my life, someone dies, anybody in my life dies. I lose a job, I get beat up, any kind of imaginable thing that you can think of that would make you get loaded. I could call someone in this program today, and I can think, oh, well, this guy's been through that. That guy's been through that. I'm going to call them. I'm going to call him. I might call her, Someone's going to have something to say about how they got through that. And it might be go to this meeting, go to that meeting, do some writing. I hate writing, but I might have to do it. I mean, it's taking people that have been through it, what they have to say, taking their advice and doing what needs to be done to get through that issue. And that's open-mindedness, honesty, willingness. I'm open-minded now to listen to other people's advice. Before, I thought I knew everything. Now I realize that is not the case. I know very little. And the ones that go through their life that were crazy before and now they're living sane, that's how I want to be. And that's what I'm working towards. I'm willing to do the things that they tell me that they did and worked for them. I'm willing to try that way. And that's this way. And honesty. I'm honest. I don't lie. I mean, that's some people don't like that. I mean, I just won't lie. I don't. I'm very blunt and I'm very I'm very honest. And the most important part of honesty to me is being honest with myself. I need to tell myself this is what I need to do, because bullshitting myself isn't going to work in the long run. So I know what I need to do every day. And it's the bottom line is, this is what I do to stay alive today. Out of prison, out of the nut house, off the streets, to be with my family. And this is what I have to do today, and that's living the NA way. And it's a way better way of life for me. And you know, I don't really have too much more. I didn't do no kind of rehearsing or nothing. I've been stressing out on this morning. I don't know. I stress out on everything. That's one of my problems. But I wasn't stressing before yesterday. I tried to say, it's coming. I'm not gonna worry about it yet. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm going to come up to Tahoe and have fun. I'm going to be on this water slide they're making. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to have as much fun as possible. I'm going to hang out with guys that are staying clean. And I'm going to stay clean today. No matter what. I'm not going to do nothing. Hella clean. Yeah, hella clean. Today, no matter what. And I'm not going to die today from drugs. I'm not going to prison or jail today because I'm fucking up on drugs. And so for today, it's going to be an awesome day. And anyways, that's it. Thanks for having me here. And have fun today.
Thanks, brother. Hi, my name's Matt, and I'm an addict. Got a couple announcements here. Darlene has tickets for the comedy show. You find Darlene. She has tickets for the comedy show being put on by this